I wasn't even finna record this. Bro, I wasn't even finna record a video today, but I was reading my word. I'm in Exodus, and I just got a crazy revelation, bro. So, I was reading, right? And where was I? I was right here when God sent out the plague of boils. So, boom, it says, "Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, take handfuls of soup from the furnace and have Moses toss it into the air in the presence of Pharaoh. It will become fine dust over the whole land of Egypt, and festering boils will break out on men and animals throughout the land," right? So basically, Moses, if y'all haven't read Exodus, Moses and Aaron were trying to convince Pharaoh to let the Israelites go so that they can go in the desert and offer sacrifices to the Lord. But Pharaoh wasn't going. He was slaving them, all types of junk. So then, boom, it says, "So they took soup from the furnace and stood before Pharaoh. Moses tossed it into the air, and festering boils broke out on men and animals. The magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils that were on them and all of the Egyptians. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had said to Moses." So, if you've read Exodus, even if you haven't, bro, this is probably like the 10th plague the Lord has sent on them. Like, first, bro, he did a bunch of like miracles, bro. Not miracles, but he did a bunch of wonders. He turned the water to blood. He made a bunch of gnats and flies come and attack people. He killed the livestock, but only the Egyptians' livestock, the Israelites' livestock didn't die. He did a bunch of these things, but every time he did it, it will literally say the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. So then I start wondering, I'm like, why would God harden Pharaoh's heart? Like, why would he do that if he sent Moses and Aaron to literally convince him to let the Israelites go? Like, why are you doing that? Like, that's crazy. So then I researched it, and it basically said that God was hardening Pharaoh's heart in order to perform his miracles and show his sovereignty over the Egyptian gods, over whoever they worship. Because initially, the first few plagues, every time that Moses did something, like the first one, I think Moses threw down his staff and it turned to a snake, right? Every time Moses did that, the Egyptian magicians would stand up and do the same thing. They kept doing the same thing as him, so it wasn't like as miraculous. But then it got to a point, I think it was after he brought the frogs out the water or something like that. When he sent like the flies and stuff, they couldn't replicate it. Like they tried to use sleight of hand, they tried to use their demonic, you know what I'm saying, powers or whatever they had to do it, but they couldn't replicate it because God has the ultimate power. Like, there's certain stuff that you cannot do, bruh. He literally used hardening Pharaoh's heart, for one, to show his sovereignty over the gods that they worship. Number two, he did it because when he came to Moses on Mount Sinai, he was telling him his mission. Moses kept doubting himself. He kept telling him like, "Oh, I don't know how to speak." Like, you know what I'm saying? He's not good at talking. He's not good at this. He's not good at that. Couldn't he pick somebody better? But God was starting to get frustrated with Moses because he's like, "No, I picked you. Now, what if I got your brother, blah, 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 to do it?" So it basically, to bring it around, God does it to show us how much we really got in the tank. Not only us, how much we got in the tank, but how much he can do through us. How much he can, you know what I'm saying, how many wonders and powers he can do once we put our faith in him. How much things he can produce through us that can impact other people, that bring them to the light, that get them to know him and his sovereignty. You feel what I'm saying? Because God does stuff through us. Like, yes, he has the full power. We live in his mind, bro. He has the full power to do anything he wants. Just like the day when he comes, he gonna crack open the sky. He can do that. We don't have to help him with that jump. But the things that he wants us to do to impact other people, he does it through us. The reason I'm speaking to this camera right now is because there's people that are my age. There's people that are, you know what I'm saying, that know me and aren't gonna do the reading, aren't gonna do the research, aren't gonna do the worshiping that I've done to come to the level of wisdom that I'm at, the level of enlightenment that I've received. You feel me? Because I didn't deserve it, but I received it because of my obedience. They aren't gonna do that. So God, what is he doing? He's using me to speak to the youth through this camera, to the people on the other side of the screen, to influence them. Because if they see someone their age, if they see someone that they can relate to, that, you know what I'm saying, in their generation, that is speaking truth like this, of course it's going to incline them to want to know God and see the light. You feel me? So God will literally use us to do his works. Like, you feel me? So that's why God was hardening Pharaoh's heart, was because he wanted to show us his sovereignty over all the gods that lowercase gods that people be serving, all the, you know, just show that he's the highest power, that he's the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the first and the last, the Alpha and Omega, just to show us that. And then he also is doing it to prove to Moses, yes, like, you're equipped for this. You're definitely equipped for this, bro. And I know I'll see it in the later chapters, but it doesn't stop here with these type of miracles, bro. And even when he said, he told them, I think it was chapter 9. Hold on. Yeah. The one before, okay, so the plague before the boils was the plague of livestock. And he said, if you refuse, let me just read the whole chapter. Then the Lord said to Moses, go to Pharaoh and say to him, this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go and continue to hold them back, the hand of the Lord will bring a terrible plague on your livestock in the field, on your horses and donkeys and camels, and on your cattle and sheep and goats. But the Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and that of Egypt, so that no animal belonging to the Israelites will die. The Lord set a time and said, tomorrow the Lord will do this in the land. And the next day the Lord did it. When you speak certain things that you speak to people, you don't even have to do the miracles that God can do to you, but you'll speak certain things. You'll speak certain prophecy that was put on your heart to say. You'll look back at it and be like, dang, I don't even know why I said that. But it will come true because that's the Lord doing his work through you. People will know that's God making stuff happen through what you said. You feel me? So not only is it just actions, but things that you say. God will make things happen, but based off what you say, bro. That's why you gotta watch your tongue. You gotta tame your tongue, because it's the beast of all beasts, bro. God gave us dominion over all the animals, the birds of the sky, the fish of the sea, but we can't tame our tongue. That's the biggest beast, twin. That's the final boss. You feel me? We can't even, like, bro, I still got curse words in the tank, bro. Like, I be slacking. I gotta tighten up sometimes, bro, because I'll be like, bro, I'm a new creation. You feel me? So I gotta speak like a new creation. I can't go back to the old ways, bro. I can't keep doing what I used to. That comes down to speaking. Like, it's everything. What I love about God, bro, and not to keep yapping, because I got my point across, but what I love about God is that the destination is the journey, bro. Once you come to know him, right, there'll be this big boulder. For me, there was like this big one boulder that I'm like, okay, I got to get this out the way, and then I'll be straight. Once you remove that boulder, they said this in the book, Experiencing God. You move that boulder out the garden, right? There starts to be little rocks that come up out the dirt. Now you got to get the little rocks. You got to dig them up because they still kind of in the dirt, but you see them. They're visible enough for you to see them. But you got to do something about them now because they're brought to the surface. But you had to move the first big boulder. Once you get those little rocks, it's gonna be more of them, and it might be little pebbles, but they still affect you, bro. They're still part of fleshly desires. So one thing I love about God is that it's just a journey, bro, and we'll never reach the destination until we reach the destination, until we leave this earth school. But that's the point of it, bro, to keep evolving, to keep getting better, you feel me, to keep learning, and to keep building that relationship with God so we can stick like glue, and so that we can bring more people to the light. And that's what I'm doing it for, man. Hopefully this impacted y'all. Hopefully y'all want to come back to see another video. Man, I love y'all. Verse Domain signing out.